afternoon or morning, depending where you are, everyone. We're going to give it until about 2 after. Our attendee number is still climbing, so we'll get started here in a couple of minutes. Thanks everyone for joining. We're going to give it maybe one more minute here and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you everybody for joining. Today we're going to be doing just a general overview of the Department of Navy Red Hat Enterprise Agreement. My name is Kayla Hudson. I'm the manager of Federal PMO Operations for DLT Solutions. So in that, I am directly responsible for the management of the Department of Navy Red Hat Enterprise Agreement. I also have my sales team lead, Kevin Clem, here on the line, so he'll be able to help answer questions towards the end. We will have some time for live feedback at the end. So before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping items. Your lines will be muted for the duration of the webinar, but if you have any questions that come up throughout the presentation, please feel free to go ahead and drop those in either the Q&A field or the chat field, and then we will answer those live at the end of the presentation. This is being recorded and it will be posted to the DLT Marketplace about 1 week after today's presentation. There will also be a PDF copy of today's slides available for download on the Marketplace. And then finally, if you have any technical questions or issues throughout the presentation, please message Felicia directly in the chat and she'll be able to help you out with those. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're just going to do a general overview of the Department of Navy Red Hat 2 Enterprise Agreement and what is included in that. So let's hit a few of the very simple contract basics. The Department of Navy Red Hat Enterprise Agreement is a sole source award contract to DLT Solutions. You may still see DLT branded from time to time as TD SYNNEX Public Sector, but the awardee of this enterprise agreement is DLT Solutions. You'll always see two contract numbers referenced regarding the enterprise agreement, the first being the DAWN award number N0018922FR009, and the second being DLT's Group D NASA SOUP 5 contract number NNG15SC98B. This enterprise agreement was awarded with NASA SOUP 5 as the base contract vehicle. If there are any questions or concerns about the continuation of this contract once NASA SOUP 5 ends, we do already have a continuity plan in place with the program office. So this contract will continue to live on if the NASA SOUP 5 vehicle does end up expiring. So the enterprise agreement is comprised of two components. There's the enterprise license agreement, which you'll hear referred to as the ELA. And then there's also the DAWN agency catalog, which you'll hear referred to as the AC. The period of performance with all option years exercised for the ELA is January 27th, 2022 through January 26th, 2027. And for the agency catalog, the period of performance is December 27th, 2021 through December 26th, 2026. As a quick reminder, the use of DON ESL agreements is mandated for all DON and USMC end users for their Red Hat requirements as prescribed in the February 22nd, 2012 DON CIO ASN RDNA FMNC memorandum to achieve maximum cost savings and favorable terms and conditions for the entirety of the Department of the Navy. With this, the contract does also have an established Red Hat brand name justification for exception to fair opportunity, or JEFO, attached to it. If you ever need copies of that memorandum or the JEFO, we're happy to provide those, and they're also available on the Department of Navy's intranet site. On the screen now, you will see a summarized explanation of the authorized users of the DON Red Hat Enterprise Agreement. An authorized user includes, but is not limited to, DON government employees, contractors, and non-human devices or partial devices operated by an authorized user. To shorten what's on the screen even further, the entire Department of the Navy that's reporting to the Secretary of the Navy, as well as the USMC, are the authorized users of this agreement. The DON and Marine Corps contractors are also able to utilize this agreement with a valid letter of authorization from their cognizant contracting officer. There are a few specific groups that I want to point out that are not considered authorized users under this agreement. So that includes the U.S. Navy Bureau of Medicine, any entity for which the DON is serving as a DoD executive agent, any entity for which the DON is serving as a DoD combatant command support agent, which includes joint commands and subordinate unified commands, any special access programs, and foreign military sales. The full language for the authorized users of this agreement can be found in the DON Red Hat Enterprise Agreement Ordering Guide if you need to access that. All right, so we're going to quickly glance through the key points of contacts and the stakeholders for the enterprise agreement. So first, you'll see the DLT team here on this slide. Myself, I'm directly responsible for the management and compliance with this contract vehicle. So if you ever have any terms and conditions questions, operational questions, I can absolutely assist you with those. Kevin Clem is our team lead for our Navy Red Hat sales, so he's a great point of contact for you as well. And then we have Zach, Paul, and Marty as our dedicated account managers that handle all of our Navy and Marine Corps Red Hat sales. I have included mine and Kevin's direct emails here on this slide. But we always recommend using the Navy Red Hat team at dlt.com email distro. That goes to our entire team, so that will get you the swiftest response time. On this slide, I'm sure most of you are familiar with these two gentlemen, but from the DON ESL program office, Winnie Tolentino serves as the project officer over this agreement, and Brian Houchins is his contractor support. They're both great resources for any questions you have about the agreement. I'm sure several of you are working with them right now on the Fair Share Bill tasker, so they are also available along with the DLT team to assist you with the contract. On this screen, you'll see all of the POCs from Red Hat that are engaged on this agreement. So Stacy is the Director of Navy Strategy and Sales. And then you'll see all of the account executives are in teams and they have specific territories within the DON that they cover. So James and Sam are responsible for ONR, NAVSUP, FFC, NRL, and NAVAIR. Michael and Jeff are responsible for NAVC. Jamie and Josh cover NAVWAR, PACOM, and PAC Fleet. Susan and Lou cover PEO Digital, PEO MLB, the Marine Corps, and ONI. And then you have Amanda and Brandy, who specialize in Red Hat training, and David Belt, who is going to be the DoD Services Manager for Professional Services and Consulting. I know I'm going through these pretty quick. All of these contacts are also available on the DLT Marketplace so that you have access to those as well. From the Department of Navy BSO lead point of view, I have listed out the lead contacts that are associated with each BSO and the groups within those BSOs. Again, going to skim through these slides really quickly here. There is a full list and contact information for all of these folks on the DLT Marketplace under the resources menu option with a downloadable file titled Red Hat BSO ESH2 Approver List. So that has their emails and their phone numbers and all of these specific commands that they are responsible for. All right, let's get into the fun stuff here. We're going to start by first discussing the Enterprise License Agreement, the ELA component of this contract. The first component, the Enterprise License Agreement, or ELA, consists of what is referred to as the Red Hat Core Product subscriptions. This includes RHEL Server x86 variants, RHEL Client, RHEL Real-Time, RHEL Add-ons, and RHEL Management and Provisioning tools. This very tiny little screenshot over here on the right-hand side of the screen is the full list of all of the individual SKUs that are available to our Navy and USMC users under the ELA. Vast majority of these are available in an unlimited quantity to our customers under the Enterprise Agreement. This smaller section of the screenshot down here is products that do have cap quantities associated with them. However, once those cap quantities are met, these products are still available for individual procurement via the agency catalog. To get access to this full list of SKUs that are available, you can download a file from, again, the DLT Marketplace. There is a menu item that says ELA subscriptions list. You'll be able to click into there, download a copy of this file. That file will also include the full list of ITPR pricing that can be utilized when you're submitting to your command for approval. All of these products are available and accessible through the DLT Marketplace SAR process, which we'll dig into a little bit here next. As a just general piece of information, if your command or contracting shop requires a formal budgetary quote from DLT to show the ITPR pricing, feel free to reach out to us at NavyRedHatTeam@DLT.com, and we will provide you a budgetary quote to submit with your purchase request. If your contracting office or purchasing department does not require an official budgetary quote, again, all of the pricing for these SKUs are available in that downloadable file on DLT Marketplace, and it has the it has the current ITPR pricing right next to the SKUs. Keep in mind, there is a fair share bill associated with the RHEL subscription portion of the ELA that is distributed to the BSO ESH2 leads annually. You are probably in the middle of this task right now to true up your subscription quantities. So that does get distributed each year. Now, still under the ELA portion of the agreement, the DON and USMC customers also have access to 10,000 LS220 Red Hat training subscriptions, which we'll review here shortly, as well as 4,000 annual consulting hours. Both of these sections of the ELA are at no additional charge to you or your command, and they're available on a first-come, first-served basis. We're going to focus mostly on the RHEL subscriptions and training today, but if you have any questions about those annual 4,000 consulting hours, please feel free to reach out to us at the Navy Red Hat Team at DLT.com email alias, and we will be happy to provide additional information. Okay, so now we are going to talk about how you actually get access to those subscriptions that are available under the ELA. These are submitted under something called a SAR, a subscription agreement request, and it's done through the DLT Marketplace. So we're going to look at what the DLT Marketplace looks like here in a second, but I wanted to give you guys first an overview of what the workflow for these SARs looks like. DLT Marketplace accounts, when they are requested, are established based on a user role and a user group, and each of those has specific permissions and responsibilities tied to them. We'll talk about that here on the next slide. This workflow and approval chain was established by the DON ESL program office. So the way that this flows is somebody in the requester role will be the person who initiates the request. So they'll log into DLT Marketplace and they'll complete the SAR form and they'll submit it for approval. The next action in the workflow is whoever they have selected as the assigned program manager will receive a notification, and at that point, they will also review and approve that SAR request. Once the program manager has reviewed and approved, or if they have any questions or issues with the request, they're able to send it back to the requester. But if they've reviewed and determined that everything is acceptable, they will move it to the next line in the workflow, which is for the BSO Echelon 2 approver to review and approve the SAR. Please keep in mind that for the BSO ESH2 to move the SAR forward in the process, at this point, they do have to have a valid ITPR or equivalent, whichever process your command uses, before they can push it through to show that the funding is approved for this request. Once the Echelon 2 approves that request, it'll come over to my team's queue for us to review and approve. At this stage, we are going to be validating that there is a Red Hat network account number and login ID associated with your SAR request. Please keep in mind when you are entering this information, your login ID is not your email address. It's going to be your actual username for the Red Hat network account. We are going to look at here shortly what setting up those accounts looks like, but make sure that you are using a valid account number and a valid login ID. Otherwise, we will send the request back for edits. Once that has been reviewed and validated, we will approve it and it will go over to the Dawn ESL program office for the final review and approval. Once they have approved that, that is the last chain of the workflow. And an automated email will go over to Red Hat customer service to entitle those subscriptions into your account. And we will talk here in a moment about how to access those. Okay, so I keep mentioning the DLT marketplace and these processes. So I wanted to give you a quick glimpse of how to set up your account and what it looks like once you have access. So this link here will take you to the main page of the DLT marketplace. And when you get there, you'll see a screen that looks like this. If you do not have an existing DLT Marketplace account, you're going to use this Request Portal Access button. That'll pop up a screen to input your email address. This does need to be a government email address. So if you have a contractor that is going to be accessing, they need to have a .ctr Navy or USMC email address to initiate the account request. So you'll populate your government email here, click Next. The next screen will pop up and you'll populate this with your first name, last name, your title or position within your program, and your business phone number. You'll select Next. And then finally, you'll see this screen, which I know is where it gets a little bit confusing for some folks. You're always going to want to make sure that you're selecting the Dawn Red Hat Core portal in the first dropdown. That gets you access to this entire agreement. In the role dropdown, you'll see either requester or program manager. So requester is going to be your first person that is initiating the request for products. So that is going to be the very base level person that's going in and submitting the requirements. The program manager role is the first approval authority in the workflow. So if you are approving requests on behalf of other folks, you will use the program manager role. And then in the group dropdown, every BSO structures these a little bit differently. Some of the BSOs are down to a very programmatic level in the groups they have associated. Some are a little bit higher level. So scroll through there, see if anything matches to what you are familiar with. If not, feel free to reach out to us and we can do a little bit of research to see which group other folks within your program have registered under and help you get that set up. Once you finish this and submit the request, it goes over to the Dawn ESL program office. They'll review and validate the account. It usually takes a day to 3 days for the team to review these. They're typically pretty quick. And then once they approve that, you will get an automated email saying that your account is set up and ready to go. Now, the other portal, it is very important to note there are 2 separate portals and 2 separate registrations that have to be completed in order to access your subscriptions. The first one I just talked about is the DLT Marketplace. Think of that as your IT asset management tool where you're tracking all of your subscriptions and requests. And then the other one is the Red Hat Network site where all of your subscriptions will actually be accessible. So if you do not currently have a Red Hat Network account, you will have to create one in order for any of the subscriptions to be entitled. So you will access this link that's shown here on the slide. Something very important to note is this enterprise agreement only allows for the usage of corporate type accounts. So when you're registering for an account, make sure you select that first corporate option and not the personal option. If you create a personal account and use that information in your SAR, Red Hat will not be able to entitle the enterprise subscriptions to you. So make sure that you're doing the corporate type. You'll then continue to complete all the fields on the screen, click submit, review the terms and conditions that populate, click I accept, and then you'll receive a confirmation email. Once your account is active, you will have access to your account number to put in your SAR request. All right, so once you have both of your accounts created and associated, somebody in the requester role will be able to actually go into DLT Marketplace to initiate the SAR request. So to do that, they'll log into the home screen. On the left-hand side of the window, there's all of the different menu options. You will click the request drop-down and select the first option that says SAR, and then it'll bring you over to the form. Any fields that have a red asterisk are required to be entered for you to submit this form. You'll see that I've highlighted in a big green box here, Red Hat account number and Red Hat login ID. Your request will not be able to be finalized without this information. So please make sure you are entering that. And just again, a reminder, your Red Hat login ID is your username, not your email. This Echelon 2 command or BSO field is an autofill field. So if your DLT Marketplace account is only associated with one group, that will automatically populate. If you are associated with multiple groups, you'll need to select the drop-down and click the applicable group for this request, and then the group lead POCs will automatically populate based on the roles in DLT Marketplace. So then you'll keep filling out the form. This is information specific to your program and who's going to be using these subscriptions. And then as you move through, you'll see there's more information about the program. You'll select the program manager from this drop-down. That is anybody that already has a DLT Marketplace account that is registered as a program manager for your group. This section right here is where you'll enter your ITPR numbers or whatever the equivalent is for your command. And then finally at the bottom is where you will be able to select the actual subscriptions that you are requesting access to. So the first drop-down product type, Red Hat Core Subscription Unlimited, and the other option is the capped quantity. So using one of those will give you the next drop-down that shows you all of the products that are available under that product type. So you'll go in, select the appropriate product for your requirement, and then the next field here is the quantity of subscriptions that you need. If you are requesting more than one product, you can use this add another line button here at the bottom, and you'll be able to add as many line items as you need for all of the products that you require. Once you've completed all of the required fields, make sure you hit the Save button at the bottom of the screen. However, clicking this Save button does not initiate the workflow. So you'll want to make sure after you click Save, you come back to the home screen dashboard of your Marketplace account. Your numbers will not look quite as intimidating as mine. I have overarching access. Yours will be specific to the group you are assigned to. So you'll come to this Request in Progress option and click the blue number that's here. And then you'll navigate to the draft SAR that you just created. And then you'll want to click Send SAR to PM for approval to initiate the workflow. You can also insert any comments here for information that you want included in the automated email over to your program manager. But as soon as you hit Send SAR to PM for approval, that named PM will receive a notification email that they now have an action in the DLT Marketplace, and they'll be able to go through and get the workflow going. So once that entire approval workflow is completed and now you're ready to access your subscriptions that have been entitled to your Red Hat Network account, you're going to want to go to this link here, access.redhat.com. You'll log into your Red Hat Network account using your username and your password. And then you're going to want to click on the subscription tabs in the top navigation bar to access those subscriptions in your overview screen. It is very, very important to note, we get this question often. You will only ever see a quantity 1 of ESA 0010001 or ESA 0015 in your account for these enterprise subscriptions. Once you click into those umbrella SKUs, you'll be able to access the full quantity of subscriptions that were approved in your SAR. But that quantity for ESA 0001 and ESA 0015 will only ever show as quantity 1. If you have any questions about accessing your subscriptions, or if you have any account difficulties, the DLT team is always more than happy to attempt to help, but your best bet is going to be reaching out to customer service at redhat.com, and they can work through any issues or questions with you live in your account. DLT has a very limited view into your accounts in that we can see what's active and who is a member of that account, but that's about the visibility that we have on our side. Okay, so that is the subscription portion of the ELA. Now we're going to quickly dig into the training portion that, again, is available at no additional cost to you or your command. If you would like access to one of the 10,000 LS220 training subscriptions, you are going to submit a training agreement request or a TAR in the DLT marketplace. So a quick overview here for what is included in that LS220 subscription. Again, I want to keep emphasizing this. No additional cost to you. Please take advantage of this training program. The LS220 subscriptions give you access to the standard package for Red Hat training. And these subscriptions do renew annually. So every time the option year for the enterprise agreement is executed, your subscription is going to automatically renew so that you have access to it for another year. A few of the many benefits of this training program is you're getting early access. So you can access information on in-development technology that has not officially been released by Red Hat yet. There is an extensive curriculum tied to this, so you can train at your own pace on demand with access to Red Hat's entire course portfolio. It does include the certification testing so that you can validate your skills. And then another really great benefit for all of you is that some of these courses do satisfy continuing education requirements for CompTIA certifications. So if you have any questions about which courses apply and how that works, you can reach out to DoD training team at redhat.com, and they will be more than happy to walk you through that and show you which courses qualify for that. So the TAR process in the DLT marketplace is relatively simple. So you will log into your account, and again, you'll come over to the left-hand side menu. In the request dropdown, you'll select SAR. The information that is required is very minimal. So you're going to fill in this first box here. Again, the Echelon 2 group leads auto-populates based on the groups that you are assigned to. And then lastly, you're just going to enter the trainee information down here at the bottom. So the first and last name of the person that is using the subscription, their Red Hat login ID. So again, not the email, the actual username. Then you'll put their email and their phone number. You do not have to submit an individual TAR for each person that is requesting a training subscription. You can have one person submit on behalf of your entire program. So if you have one person submitting a TAR, you can use this add another item button here, and then you can add as many trainees as you need within your program to give them access to one of the 10,000 LS220 subscriptions. Workflow in this is super simple. You fill out the form, we receive it, we review it. Oh, sorry, I went a little too fast there. As soon as our team validates that it has correct Red Hat login information, they will push that through to Red Hat. You'll get an automated email at that point that introduces you to Brandy, who is the training specialist over at Red Hat. And then there will also be a live link to the skills assessment that gives you an idea of where to start in your training journey. And then usually about 3 to 5 days after, Brandy will reach out with a welcome letter confirming that your LS220 subscription is set up and ready to go, and you can start your training journey. All right, now we're going to kind of shift gears to the agency catalog portion of the enterprise agreement. So what is the agency catalog? It is essentially your availability to order the rest of Red Hat's portfolio of products and services. So again, just a reminder, all DON ordering activities will be required to order the Red Hat requirements via the agency catalog. This is still the mandated source of supply for end users. All of the ordering under the agency catalog is decentralized to the requiring activity. So it will be up to whoever is your lead contracting officer or contracting shop to execute the PO with DLT. So the process for this is fairly standard and straightforward. You can reach out to DLT and we will help to scope your requirement. It will be very often that we pull in our SMEs over at Red Hat to help scope your requirement and make sure that you're getting everything you need for your systems. Second step, you're going to follow your local policies and procedures for submitting a requirement to contracting. I know there's a lot of new folks throughout the Navy that maybe don't have as much experience in this. We've been getting a lot of questions recently about, well, who do I go to actually make this purchase? The best point of advice that we can give you is reach out to your BSO Echelon 2 lead, and they should be able to help direct you into who to contact to place your order. But of course, reach out to us. We'll get you in contact with somebody who can hopefully get that situated for you. Your contractors, again, they are able to purchase through this agency catalog as well. They do have to have a valid SOUP 5 specific letter of authorization. If you have questions about that process or what that looks like, let us know. We have a very simple step-by-step guide on how to get that done. Following that, the customer's local contracting office will execute a PO with DLT. DLT will book and process the order, and then the entitlements will be made into your Red Hat network account. Though this contract is based off of NASA SOUP, because it is a sole source mandated source of supply, you are not required to utilize the NASA SOUP quote request tool. You can if you would like to, but you are more than welcome to email Kevin and his team directly through NavyRedHatTeam@dlt.com, and they will get you a quote as soon as possible. One of the other things I just wanted to make sure we pointed out, government purchase card orders are acceptable on this up to your purchasing threshold. So if you need to make a quick procurement through a government purchase card, that is absolutely fine. And then finally, just to give you kind of a quick glimpse on what is available here. So the agency catalog is inclusive of all of Red Hat's remaining product families. So Ansible automation is available at a 30.2% to 8% discount off of the current MSRP. Red Hat cloud offerings are available also at a 30.28% off of MSRP price. The middleware catalog is available at a 35.26% discount off of MSRP. OpenShift products are available at a 30.28% discount off of MSRP. The remaining catalog of RHEL offerings is available for 50.2% off of MSRP. Storage is 35.26%. The remainder of Red Hat's training catalog, including in-person trainings, is available at 17.33% off of MSRP. And then finally, we can do full scope professional services engagements at 1.4% off of MSRP. And then last thing I want to note here is confirmed stateside support is also available. So if you need US citizen, US soil support for your Red Hat product offerings, that is available for purchase. And those are going to be discounted at the same rate as the root product. So if you are purchasing confirmed stateside support in support of an Ansible product, that CSS will be also discounted at 30.28%. If you ever need a full list of everything that's available and the current prices on contract, there is a fully inclusive list available on the DLT Marketplace. So you'll log into your DLT Marketplace account, and on that left-hand side window, there will be a menu option that says Agency Catalog Subscription and Pricing List. You can download the full Excel file from there. All right. Then lastly, I just want to show some of the resources that are available, and then we'll see if we had any questions come in. So when in doubt, please always feel free to reach out to our team at Navy Red Hat team at DLT.com. If we don't know the answer, we will know who does know the answer. So we're always more than happy to jump in and assist, whether it's validating your subscriptions or getting you a quote, or if it's a question about DLT Marketplace. We're here to support all of our users however we can. The DLT Marketplace is also a great resource. There is a ton of collateral posted on there that's available in real time on demand for you. So the entire ordering guide is posted there. That goes through step by step of how to do each of these processes. So step by step on the SARs, the TARs, the approval workflows, agency catalog, authorized users, all of that great information. There are also specific guides to each of those processes that go, again, step by step through how to submit each of these. Your full ELA subscription and ITPR pricing is available. There are guides and resources on how your contractors can utilize this agreement, the agency catalog price list. There's an overview of Red Hat's technical account manager program. There's a guide on how to create your Red Hat network account, consulting overview, training overview, Red Hat ebooks, a repository of all of the past recorded tech spotlights like this one, and more. There's a ton of information on DLT Marketplace. If you're unsure of anything, please let us know. Again, we'll help either guide you to where the information is or get you an answer. And then there also is a page specific to this agreement on the CAC-enabled PEO Digital Strategic Sourcing Services ESL portal. That link is here. There's a ton of information. Winnie and Brian are super great about keeping that up to date with all of these documents. So that is all I have from a presentation point of view. Kevin, would you mind rattling off some questions that we've gotten?
Yeah, thank you, Kayla. We have the first question is, are requesters the only ones able to submit a SAR, or can accounts under the PM position submit SARs as well?
Yes, so only folks in the requester role can submit that initial request, the initial SAR form. And again, that's just due to the workflow approval chain. So we can't have somebody who has first approval authority also submitting the request and approving their own request. So that is locked down to only folks in the requester role submitting those SAR forms.
Great. The next question is, will the training slides be provided after this presentation?
Yep, absolutely. So they will be posted on DLT Marketplace. There will be a PDF copy of these. There will also be a recording of this webinar posted as soon as it is available. And then if you want an emailed copy, let us know, reach out to us, Navy Red Hat team at DLT.com. We can also email you a copy.
Perfect. And the last one I'm seeing currently is, we have a command with greater than 2,000 subscriptions to RH0923296 Red Hat Enterprise Linux Premium, Enterprise subscription 0001. Since the Red Hat portal will only show one subscription, how do you recommend the command validate the number of licenses in use?
That is a fantastic question, and I know it's something that a lot of people are struggling with. So that was kind of the goal of having the DLT Marketplace set up, was so that you did have this repository of information to manage the total amount of subscriptions across the entire program, across the entire BSO that are being requested and utilized. Unfortunately, it is kind of a responsibility of the technical users to quantify what they are actually using. However, if you ever have questions about scoping based on your servers or your environment, reach out to us and we'll get you in contact with some of the engineers on the Red Hat side, and they can help figure out exactly what quantity of the subscriptions you'll need. But the DLT Marketplace is meant to be kind of the source of information for the total quantities used across the BSOs holistically.
Just had another one come in. The Navy Red Hat team has provided terrific customer support to Navifor. Thank you. You're welcome. We appreciate it.
Thank
Can
you.
you explain the difference between a SIB and a SAR?
Yes. So SIBs are just the historical terminology that was used for SARs. So that was previous to the Red Hat 2 agreement. They happened under Red Hat 1. So SIB and SAR are exactly the same things. It was just different nomenclature that were used for different iterations of the contract. Any other questions? All right, awesome. Well, if anything
I
does,
just had a couple more pop in, Kayla.
okay, perfect.
I currently have rol.redhat.com account from a Navy source. Do I need to fill out a form to keep it?
Ooh, that's a great question that I do not know the answer of off the top of my head. Would whoever asked that mind sending an email over to our Navy Red Hat team at dlt.com distro and we will get you an answer.
Got a few more. Follow-on question is that you cannot tell after rel 7 when looking at the machines. I have sent an email with lots of questions. All right, we'll follow up with that one via email. Where should we go to find this recording?
It'll be posted on DLT Marketplace. So if you have an account and you go and log in, if you scroll to the bottom of that left-hand menu, there's a section that's titled, I think it's Webinars and Tech Spotlights. It'll be posted there. We can also, if you shoot us an email, we can send you the link once it's available through email. Anything else?
If I am in a PM role, can I request the DLT team to help change into a requester role?
Yes, so reach out to us. We will float that by the Don ESL program office to get their approval, and then we can very quickly and easily make the change from PM role to requester role. Just send us an email and we'll take care of that for you.
And who is the best POC for issues with the access.redhat.com portal? And that would be customer service at redhat.com. And that is it.
Okay, awesome. Well, if any other questions come up, or if you think anybody else in your programs or your commands could benefit from this information, reach out to us. We're always happy to do in the moment trainings as well. And as soon as this gets as soon as the recording is available, we will make sure that it gets posted on DLT Marketplace for on-demand access. Thank you again, everybody, for joining. We really appreciate your time. And as always, let us know how we can support you in your programs. We're here whenever we can help. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.